Hello, everyone. Today is Monday, July 28, 2025. Update for Tuesday, the 29th. All right, let's go. Well, not a fantastic day in the portfolio. Obviously, a little help from VG, but nothing else, obviously. We'll get to that in just 1 second. I suppose we were due. We had a pretty good run. As of late, as far as official setups, let's stick with the OUST. This GLIBK also caught my eye in here. But as far as official setups, let's stick with the OUST for now. Let's take a look at the, make sure you, of course, you wait for an entry on that one. Let's take a look at the portfolio, and then we'll pop out to the overall market. BTM rallied a bit, it came back in. Sort of a bummer so far, but hanging in there for the most part. KGC coming in a little. Gold got hit a little today. We'll talk about that in just 1 second. Kato soft to the races, but then came back in by the end of the day, just off all-time highs, though, so hanging in there for the most part. TFPM continues to consolidate by trading sideways to lower. TJ selling off fairly hard. Still looks like it has potential to get out this pullback, but obviously that hasn't happened just yet. Take a look at VG, opening gap there, came back in a little bit, but still held on to some okay gains for the day. Hanging in there for the most part. Still looks like it has potential, but obviously on your stops just in case. You know the routine. Let's take a look at the overall market, and we'll drill down a little. First of all, S&P 500 up a smidge if you squint your eyes, and that's enough to keep it right at all-time high. So far, the nice persistent uptrend remains intact. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ Composite actually banged out new highs with a tiny bit of vigor, up about 1/3%, better than the poke in the eye, I suppose. Rusty 2000 tried to rally, but came back in. This is kind of indicative for a lot of momentum issues today. I saw a lot of areas get hit quite a bit. Let's take a look at some other areas. Financials, speaking of getting hit, sold off fairly hard, down about 0.75%. I sure would like to see them clear this prior peak and get further away from this peak back earlier in the year, the highs for earlier in the year, more decisively. And obviously, dollar got whacked a little bit. I'm sorry, dollar rallied quite a bit, and then the euro got whacked, as did the British pound, and that helped to drag gold down a little bit. As you know, a drop in the dollar will cause a rise in the dollar. Let me rewind that. A rise in the dollar will cause gold to drop because it's a dollar-denominated investment. When the dollar drops, it'll make gold rise as a general statement, intermarket technical analysis 101, because it takes more dollars to buy gold. So hopefully that made sense. Even shares getting whacked a little bit. I'm sure the dollar helped that a bit, but this is a bit of a bummer because they've come right back in. I do like to see as many areas do well as possible to kind of help us along. So you like to see the world doing fine too. Obviously that didn't happen today. Robotics and AI off a little bit. I'd like to see them get past this prior peak more decisively. Gold stocks getting hit fairly hard, as did gold again, but right below these peaks in here. Longer term, still an uptrend. You know me, I sure like to see it break out of that base and not look back. Broker dealer coming back in a little bit, but just off all-time high, so far, so good there. Biotech getting whacked a bit. It's stalling out at this overhead supply. Again, internally, there's quite a few stocks, biotechs, that have momentum, but some of that momentum is slowing here and there, so we'll keep an eye on that situation. Software managed to close slightly higher, and that's enough to keep it at all-time highs. Defense just off a bit, open a gap reversal there, kind of like the Katos did today, but that's just off all-time highs. And obviously, longer-term uptrend still remains intact. Lithium getting whacked a little bit. Let's take a look at metals overall. Metals overall selling off fairly hard. Off their worst levels, though. So far, just pulling back. So far, I wouldn't even call it a TKO, but it's almost a TKO type of setup. Pot stocks continue to try to bottom out. Looks like that's going to be a choppy road, though. Opening gap reversal there, but did manage to close at multi-month high, so that's better than the poke in the eye, obviously. So overall, it's kind of a mixed day without getting into a lot more details. You kind of get the idea. Sort of mixed day throughout. You know the routine. Take things one day at a time. Stop me if you heard that before. Everybody have a great night. If you have any questions, you know the routine. Thank you so much.